Well, thank you so much for joining us. Today we have Her Excellency Dr. Sara Al Madani. It's so wonderful to have you here, Sara. I mean, you are a serial entrepreneur in tech, fashion, all sorts, brand ambassador, a member of the board of the UAE Ministry of Economy's SME Council, and the Sharjah Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So, I mean, it's such an honor to have you, and also just so excited for this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I heard a lot about you, and I love what you stand for. And I can't wait until we get into discussion so we can exchange, our beliefs and, all the things that the world might not look at seriously, but we know are serious.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's so exciting. Thank you so much. So, I mean, for starters, you're someone who started your entrepreneurial journey at the age of 15, which is super young, and you've done so much since then in essentially a short space of time. How did that journey unfold for you? How did you start to be someone who has so many companies? Because some people, I mean, can only have the capacity for one in their mind, and you have just so many amazing things you do. How did that journey start for you?
So basically just to explain to you, when I was young, like in the age of 4 till 10, I don't remember much, but my father told me that I used to always do the weirdest things that are not related to my age. He said you would buy candy and recruit your older cousins to resell it for you, and you'd give them commission. Yeah, he said you used to massage us for money. Just to get what you want, because every time you wanted something, we told you, no, you have to get good grades, you have to work hard and to get them. And then I would always ask my dad when I was young, why do I have to work hard to prove to you that I'm worth it? What if I know I'm worth it? I was a kid, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. So my dad kind of felt that I stood out between my siblings and as a child. And he knew that there was something special about me. And I think it's this entrepreneurial spirit. Everyone can be an entrepreneur, but the spirit of entrepreneurship is something that you're born with. So he's like, I knew you were special, and I knew you were going to give me a headache and you were a troublemaker. So when I was 15, I told my parents, okay, look, I am going to be financially independent from this day onward. And imagine your daughter is a 15-year-old telling you this. My parents just, cracked up. My dad was laughing. He's like, oh, let her go. She'll be back soon. He told my mom. But I've never been back ever since. So I told them I want to be financially independent and I want to open a company. They were like, fine, do whatever you want to do. And I heard them whisper. Sometimes when I'm upstairs, I hear them whisper downstairs. They did not believe in the journey because I was young. So they were like, oh, she'll come back. She'll need some money. She wants to go shopping. She wants that. She'll come back. But I never did. And what I did in the meantime was I saved up basically my lunch money. I saved up my allowance. I started selling electronics amongst people who lived close to our house, friends, family. I started reselling objects, and I even modeled for a while without telling my parents, because as an Emirati woman, it's kind of against our culture to do it, especially at this age, So I modeled for a while behind my parents' back. I also did, these girls that do promotions in the malls where they give out products for free for trial. I've done that, and I'm so proud, and I'm not ashamed of my journey. There's no shame in the game. So I remember one day my mom's friend caught me, and she took a picture of me and she sent it to my mom. And my mom was like, who's that? What is this girl doing? I was like, that wasn't me. Until this day, I'm like, it's not me. She's like, I know you. I gave birth to you. I know you. I was like, whatever. So yeah, I had a small amount of money, which was like 20,000 dirhams. It's nothing nowadays, but back then it was a lot of money. We're talking about 2002, 2001. So I took that money. There was a guy who's trying to get rid of his company, his fashion store, and he had a couple of employees, 3. The machines were there and all that. He said, if you give me 15,000 dirhams, I will give you the whole store with the staff. I'll transfer everything to your name. And even the rent is paid for a year. And I had to deal with him. I did it, and it started there. And ever since, I've been growing and evolving as a person. Yeah, and it's just been a blessing. And I don't think that whatever I learned from this experience, any book can teach. So it's the difference between being book smart and street smart. You know, I can survive any circumstance, and that's what this game taught me basically.
Yeah, God, it's just amazing. Because I mean, how many companies do you have today? I mean, it's
Right now 7.
yeah, which is incredible.
seven, and I'm starting number 8. I started number 8 recently, like a month ago.
Oh, so exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to get into that more as well. But to start with, I'd love to ask, you know, for everything you've been through, even the companies you've created in your own life, personal experiences, what's the greatest stress or loss you've personally had to overcome?
To be honest, if you're in the business, even if you're an employee, the stress is there every day. Every day there's a new stress. Every day there's a challenge. Every day there's a hassle that happens. Definitely, one of the biggest stresses I had when I was young was being a woman at this age, trying to do a business. Like, they don't even issue license for kids in that age, you know what I mean? So being a woman was kind of hard at the beginning, but in the end, I always believe and say, if being a woman is a problem internally for you, you will look at every obstacle related to you being a female as a wall. If you don't see that as a problem internally, it will be a bump in the road. You'll just get over it. So for me, every time I was hit with a situation where people were telling me, you know, you can't do this because you're a woman or something like that, it never resonated. I didn't even understand what they were talking about. You know, I just passed over it like a bump in the road, and it was just not a problem, not an issue for me. But I did face a couple of incidents in that field. Definitely also starting business young, I did not know how to do the things from a legal perspective in terms of saving my rights. So I did lose a lot of money. I was bankrupt in 2013, completely zero. Everything I ever made was gone. And it was my fault because I did not manage my finances properly, although it was taken away from me by somebody. But I'm not going to blame people, because my blame will not change the situation or even uplift their souls or change them. I should focus on how I contributed to this. And that's how you grow from failure. You stop playing the blame game and you start looking at where you went wrong. So failure either beats you or teaches you, basically. And I decided not to be beaten, and I decided to learn. And I looked at everything I did wrong. My contracts were not in place, because you know how women are. You know, when they like each other, I like you, you like me, we're friends. We don't need a contract. No, I learned the hard way. So yeah, and I learned that, you know, paying for lawyers to do that is expensive, but it saves you on the long run. So that was the first mistake. The second mistake is I'm dyslexic, so I couldn't pay attention to numbers, and I used my issue as an excuse to be lazy towards it. Although being dyslexic can make you focus on numbers in a different way, because I have dyslexia and dyscalculia, so I can't do numbers and reading easily. So instead of looking at it as a weakness in me, I look at it as a strength right now, and I challenge myself, and I look at the numbers, and I follow up with everything. So I picked up from where I went wrong. So to me, it's like failure is a missing ingredient, basically. I pick up the ingredient, I start cooking all over again. And that's what I did. But till this day, every minute, there is an issue, there is a problem, there is a hardship that you go through. But it's all a mindset. How do you want to look at this? You want to look at this as something that will stop you, or you want to look at this as a challenge that will burn your fuel and your fire in you to try harder, to do it better, and try to find ways to get over it?
Yeah, I love that. And I so believe that. I think everyone listening can definitely relate to that, that it's just a detour in the right direction of failure instead of a roadblock. But for you, for example, being a woman, you said, in, you know, the UAE, and doing a business at such a young age, I mean, it's such a huge task that you just, you know, swanned over. It's amazing. So I've read somewhere that you said you don't believe in female empowerment, but in inspiration. And I really loved that, because I really agreed with your statement in that article I read about saying that females are not weak. We don't need empowering, but inspiring is something that everyone needs, really. So how do you define sort of the difference between the female empowerment that you see actually almost weakens women and the inspiration that people need instead?
You know, this statement I put out got me in so much trouble and got me in so many good places. because people felt like I was strong, therefore I was implementing every woman should be strong. But that's not what I meant. I'll explain to you like what I mean when I say empowerment and inspiration. I've never in my life, ever, have seen a group of men holding hands saying empower me, or going to places and, you know, saying what we know, men empowerment. If they are so entitled and they know they can do it, it's because they know they can. Women are not doing things because they don't know they can. Show a woman she can and she will. Inspire her. And I to be honest, I've done so much studies, and I was on the board of so many businesswomen councils. And there was one problem that always kept reoccurring. And they were all wondering why. They said every time we empowered women and we gave them the tools and we gave them the money and we gave them everything, every time they failed, they came and asked for more. Why are they asking for more? And I was like, it's simple, because when you give and hand a person everything, you slowly kill something in them and they become dependent on you. Teach them how to do it. Don't give them fish. Teach them how to fish. They'll be full forever. And this is the mistake. We should not feel like women need to be handed the tools in their hand and the money and everything and the directions, and tell them, there's everything, make it happen. No. Tell a woman she can, show her she can, and inspire her, and she will. And I always say that the most dangerous thing on earth is an inspired woman. Seriously. The most dangerous thing is a woman in love. Have you seen what women do when they're in love? If they take that passion and apply it to every single thing they do in their life, oh my goodness, men should be scared, because they don't know they can. The history did not show us that women can recently. I also want to highlight another thing when it comes to this. A lot of women blame men. Men are the reason women are not dominant. Men are the reason it's a male's world. Men are the reason this, men. And I once stood on a stage in front of 5,000 people and I said, I don't blame men, I blame women. And the reason why I blame women is because every time I sit somewhere with a woman and her daughter, all I hear is, girl, when you grow up, you're gonna find a rich husband, he's gonna take care of you, you wouldn't have to work anymore, he will do everything for you, he will. The preparation for a child at that age is dangerous. What you're telling the kid is, when you grow up, you're useless. You don't have to do anything. What you have to do is depend on somebody, just like you're depending right now on your family. And you slowly break away something psychologically in that person and tell them that, you know what, you don't have to accomplish. It's a man's world. Men are going to do it for you. Men are the providers, men are all that. So women have a big hand in making this world a man's world. A big hand. And I always say, no school can fix this. No education system can fix this. It's at home. It starts at home. If it's, if you know, I'll give you the simplest example. I was looking at my kids' books from school, and I was looking at some of the stories. He's in KG1, so he's like in kindergarten. And I opened the pages and I'm looking at the stories. Fatima is cooking. Ahmed is helping his dad fix the car. Fatima is stitching with her mom. Ahmed is outside helping his dad cut the trees. There is no gender equality. What you're doing is limitation to the gender by showing them that men should do masculine things and females should do feminine things, and that's the right thing to do. And the child is a sponge when he's young. Their brains are a sponge, and they grow up believing that. And once they're old, when you try to change that in them, it's so hard because it's been implanted in them like a seed, and it's too late. The tree has grown in them. So I really blame both genders, men for not making it easier for women and trying to pick it up, and for women to make it more male dominant, because that's what they taught their daughters and girls. So I hate the word empowerment. I don't want to empower women. I don't exist to empower women. I know that I have a PhD, an honorary PhD in women empowerment and leadership. And I was like, God, if I can only change that title. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful I have it, you know? It just shows that people believe that I'm there for a purpose. I'm just online using my voice to explain my purpose. I'm not here to empower. I'm here to inspire. I'm here to show you, you can do anything you want if you put your mind into it. That's as simple as it is for the explanation.
I love that. And actually, I was going to talk to you about purpose next. So I'm really glad you brought up purpose, because I feel like you are someone who's definitely got your purpose figured out in your own self. And do you have a belief that your purpose is linked to any of the businesses you've done, or that it's something outside of the businesses?
I believe, no, my purpose has nothing to do with the businesses I do. Definitely, I am a person that thrives to be successful, and money is not a bad thing. We should all love money, and that's how we attract it. But money is a necessity, not a priority. That means I need it, but I'm not gonna step over my ethics and my family and my loved ones and friends just to make money. It's not a priority. It's a necessity. So I 3 years ago went on a self-discovery journey. Actually, almost 4 years ago, and to me, it didn't make sense because first you think success is money until you make it. Then you realize, oh my God, I don't feel successful. There's something missing. And then you start asking yourself these questions. Okay, why am I existing? If I'm existing just to be successful and to make money, how come none of that goes to the grave with me? Like, why am I here? What's my purpose? What's my message? I believe every single person has a message and they have to fulfill. And they will never realize what that message is until they get clarity internally. So I asked myself so many questions, and then I slowly started seeing myself sitting alone and thinking, which is AKA known as meditation as well. Meditation is not just about humming words and crossing your legs and all that. It's also about being alone and deeply reaching into your soul and trying to find answers for a lot of like questions that are, you know, spiritually there. That questions that, you know, that annoy me because I don't know the answers to. I know the answers to everything you're going to ask me, but that question I didn't have an answer to. And then I went on this self-discovery journey. Of course, to go on this journey, I've lost people, I've lost friends. I always say I went on a life diet where I got rid of all the bad people in my life and I only had the healthy ones. So I went on a people's diet, basically. I preserved my energy. I did not mix with people who have negative energy. I had somehow the freedom to think clearly. And then I kept on doing and practicing and practicing. I traveled alone I remember I went to London for like a week and I locked myself in an apartment and I just wanted to think. No TV, nothing. And I just wanted to be alone because we're so scared of being alone. But I was alone. I did nothing but grocery shopping and sat there. And oh my God. And then I found out what my calling in life is. And to some people it might be funny, but to me, this is what fulfills my soul. And I've stood on so many international stages talking about it, and people, some were amazed, some were like, oh, whatever, just, you know, just go make some money, and that's what life is about. What are you talking about? So my calling in life, yeah, I've had that so many times. So my calling in life is, I believe that I was created to serve people. I was created to go through experiences in life and to teach people from them. I was created to endure pain and teach people about the feeling that I went through. So I believe I am here to uplift people, and I'm here to teach, nurture, and I know it's my calling. And I've practiced the law of attraction, and I've realized that through that, you know, it's a long topic, but I'll cut it short for you. I realized that, true, I had signs all over that showed me that this was my calling in life. And for some reason, I would always bump into like the most negative people, the most people who have like the most issues in their lives, and God will throw them my way. And, or like for some people, you know, the universe, but God threw them my way. And I was like, okay, so I don't get it. I'm a positive person. I practice law of attraction. I've attracted so many things in my life, and I have it written. I'm writing a book about it. So I proved it all in my book, and I've gotten everything I've asked for, but why are these people coming to me? If I'm vibrating high, why am I attracting people that are vibrating low? And then I realized my journey with these people is short. They come in, we interact for a while, they leave, but they leave a better version than the version I met them. So then I've realized, okay, that's my calling in life. People come to me sometimes, and I'm there to just help them, nurture them with my knowledge, with my experience, with my words. I know God gave me a gift. I'm dyslexic, but Dyslexic people it's hard for them to be public speakers because they can't read, they can't prepare for these things. They're more of a visual kind of person and very photogenic memory they have. But I mastered public speaking. I've done over 192 speeches all over the world in 2 years. So I realized that God gave me a voice, although I have a weakness, which is dyslexia, because I have to use it in the right way. And it's not just to go on social media and make money and become famous and all that. I'd rather die than have that written on my grave one day. You know what I mean? So then I realized that's my calling in life. So I started welcoming all these people that come my way out of nowhere with a negative, let's say, idea or a negative belief or a bad place they were in. And our interaction is short and they disappear from my life, but I've left them better than the way I found them. And it makes me happy. It fulfills my soul. The only thing out of everything I do as a business that makes me feel the closest to my purpose is public speaking. 100%. I feel like this is what makes my soul happy. I leave like I'm fulfilled beyond belief. My energy is fired up. My soul is in a happy place. I am in a happy place. And I feel like I've accomplished something. I've used my voice. Even if it was for changing one person's life, then I'm successful. I'm happy.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's such an important thing to remind people of, because a lot of people get confused about, well, I don't have a purpose because my job is this and I'm not doing that. And they connect their work so much to thinking that should be their purpose. But it's so much deeper and more unique to you than anything that you can sort of work through, or it can be part of your purpose, your work for sure, but usually it's something that's so, like you say, inspiring. You want to inspire people and nurture them. That's a purpose in itself. And I love that so much. So what inspires you and nurtures you if you're doing this for so many people?
What inspires me?
Yeah.
To be honest, I've trained myself for the past year to be my own source of inspiration and to be my own source of motivation. Because what people do a lot is they link their motivation and inspiration to either a location, a place, a person, or an individual. And what happens when that individual is gone? And what happens when you're not in that place or that location and all that? So I told myself, I was like, why am I putting, and you know that motivation and inspiration moves the world. If you don't have these two ingredients, you do nothing. You know, you can't get anywhere. So I was like, why am I basing the core of what I do in life to people, things, and places? Why don't I think of a way to motivate and inspire myself? And then I thought to myself, I was like, okay, I've been bankrupt. I was broke, beyond broke at a certain time in my life. I lost everything. Then I gained it all. Then I lost again. And I lost people and all that. The only person that was by my side and never left me was me. And the only person that will always be there for me is me. So self-love is not a sin. It's not narcissist to love yourself. You're not a narcissist. It's beautiful. And once you know the value of you, you realize that, my God, I can inspire and motivate myself in so many ways. And a person who seeks motivation and inspiration can find it in everything. If from the inside, they are positive and they know how to evaluate things and they know their value, anything can motivate them. A food dish can motivate me, you know what I mean? So it's all an internal job. I even started, when people ask me, who's your role model? I say me. And then they go like, oh, look at her, she loves herself. No, being a narcissist is loving you. But but self-love is about loving you and others. So, because when you love yourself, you reflect on others. You're happy, you're happy with others. It all shows, it's a chain reaction. So I started saying, I'm my own motivation. You should hear my story. And I'm my own role model. I can't believe I actually survived through all of this. And I'm still standing here, willing to take any risk, willing to fail again, and I'm never going to step back. And I've got my own back. So I love it. And people should start loving themselves more and appreciating themselves and appreciating how hard the journey is and who stood by your side. It was you. You never walked away.
Yeah, I love that. And it's 100% true. And I think it's a really important thing for people to remember now, because part of the problem with everyone in lockdown is, like you say, people are scared to be in their own company because they spent so long having all the distractions around them from the outside world. So when they're forced to actually sit with themselves, a lot of people haven't done this for years, if ever. And what they see might not be what they want. But certainty is, I really believe, is found within, like what you were saying. It's not found without, which is why everyone's feeling so uncertain now, because everything around us is outside has been crumbling around. But if you don't have certainty within, then people are really going to struggle. So I love that you say that your inspiration comes from yourself. I think it's such an important message for people. So moving on to a topic I've been wanting to talk to you about for ages, spirituality. What does spirituality personally mean to you? Because it means something different to everyone, which is why I love it. So what does spirituality mean to you?
Spirituality is like based on my own thinking, my own belief and all that, is basically how the bridge between you and your soul and your creator, basically. That's spirituality. And it's not in how you practice it. It's not it's beyond practice. It's a connection that is built internally that bonds the three, the creator, your soul, and you. That's to me what spirituality is, you know? And this is, and I always, like my question always to myself is like, okay, am I a body with a soul or a soul with a body, you know? Who am I? Am I this body or am I what's in this body? That's unseen, that doesn't have like, that you can't even touch, you can't even see. And if there is something that exists inside of me, which of course is my soul, how do I connect to it? How do I speak to it? Because I do believe we go in wars between ourselves internally of, should I do this, should I not? You have this conversation with yourself always, and I will always ask myself, am I speaking to myself or am I speaking to my soul? Like, what's happening? And all these questions is what made me like turn into spirituality and to practicing spirituality and thinking about it and taking it to the next level and believing that it's not just a practice that we've been taught in the books, in religion and all that in our culture. It's something beyond, it's a connection beyond that. I'll explain to you like in a small example, just so people will understand, because a lot of people still get confused when I explain it. So a person who's religious, okay, might do something wrong when he's alone or she's alone, but in front of people they won't, because people know they're religious, right? But that's a religious person. A spiritual person would never do something wrong on their own or in front of people, because they know that there is a higher power, there is God, there is, how will my soul, how will I feel about doing something wrong between me and myself? That's a spiritual person, a person that is so connected that doesn't need to do anything wrong even when he's not seen, because he knows somehow he's seen. You get my point?
Yeah.
And that's a huge difference. A person who's religious practices, and a person who's religious and spiritual goes beyond practice. Beyond practice. And it's not something reflected in the way you look. It's not reflected in the way you dress. It's not reflected in the way you act. It's something internally. Spirituality is internally. It's no one's business. It's for no one to judge, no one to interfere with. It's your bridge and your connection between your soul and your creator, basically. That's how I see it. And I always tell people, you know, when you do something wrong and no one sees, forget what people would think when they find out, right? How do you feel about it between you and yourself? Aren't you ashamed? Like, I care about what I think of me more than I care about what people think of me. How would I feel if I was doing wrong things, hurting people, or doing something behind closed doors? Like, I should be ashamed. There is not one person in the room right now. There's two. There is you, and there's a soul, and there's a God. Like, aren't you ashamed from doing something wrong behind closed doors? So that's the complete difference between a person who's spiritual, connected at all times, without a disturbance in the connection, and then between a person who's not spiritual and just practices and sometimes can do mistakes, sometimes cannot, and all that. So that's my like most simple form of explanation when it comes to that term, and I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, I love that explanation. I think it's really true in terms of when you talk about that with how people sort of give off that almost response to religion and spirituality. So like if you're in your ego, it's such a human response to judge other people's version of it, because if you were connected spiritually, you wouldn't be judging others' versions of it. You just say that's theirs, that's their own relationship with spirit, so as it should be, which is what's so so funny about the whole thing. But I think in terms of spirituality, do you find that, how has spirituality affected your success? Do you believe it has? Like, how's that for you?
Oh my God, tremendously. And not only that, when you are spiritually awake and when you're clear and you know your calling in life and you know your purpose, everything changes. And then your understanding of how you live life changes. Like, for example, like when it comes to karma, because a lot of people think that, oh, karma is something that comes back and bites you when you do something wrong, like cheating or stealing or killing. But when you're spiritually connected, you understand that karma is a sequence of events that happen every day. So let's say if I dropped juice on the floor and I left it and I walked away and someone got their clothes dirty, later on throughout the day when I'm writing, the pen will explode and get my shirt dirty. So karma happens in patterns throughout the whole day. It's in small and big sizes. It comes in big things and small things. The minute you start thinking like that, you will watch out and you will act upon everything you do. Like, for example, if I am, let's say, walking in the street and I have a paper and I toss it to the garbage and I miss. In my mind, what I've been trained to think is someone has a job to clean it. They'll come and clean it. They pay the salary for it and it'll be fine. I'll just leave. But if you are a person who cares and is spiritually awakened and is connected and understands the deeper meaning of life, you will pick it up, because in your mind, you'll understand that that person who has a job to pick that up has a salary equivalent to one meal that I have per day, and their life is hard. I should not add more to their hardship. So your mentality shifts to becoming more sympathetic, more empathy, more kind, more loving. Like, even before, like now, when I sit with a bunch of girls, sometimes they gossip, I leave. Because I feel like, oh my God, I can't. You know, before I would have done it, but after that transformation, I can't. Because what if, like, she actually isn't whatever they're saying she is? What if they're making it up? Why am I joining something that I don't believe in or don't understand? So it just takes you from here to up here. You become, your soul becomes more classy. You become a more classy person. And the way you think, the way you interact with others, the way you act, it has changed everything. The way I interact with my customers, the way I do business, the way I do finance. Like, I would never cheat someone when it comes to prices. Sometimes, I remember once I bought something and the guy delivered extra things than what I paid for. And my friend was like, you know, just keep it. You know, they'll get screwed at work. It's their problem. Just keep it. You know, whatever. Enjoy it. It's yours. It was meant to come your way. God sent it your way. And in my mind, I was like, no, that's not right. But then they're comfortable with the way they think, right? And they think it's right. They justified it. But I actually called the store and I spoke to the guy and he's like, oh my God, thank God you called, because my boss deducted my salary. And he told me if I don't find out what happened to the product, I'll be fired. And he's like, I forgot who I gave it to. I deliver like thousands of stuff every day. Like, I don't know. Thank you so much. So if I did what my friend thought I should do, which seemed right to my friend, which has completely makes sense to them, which can also be okay, that person would have lost their life, lost their job, lost everything. I would have contributed to that. But then when you think of the right thing to do, because you're spiritually awakened, you're not influenced by anything around you, and you know what's right and wrong, you always do what's right. It's automatically in you. It's embedded in your personality. And it's not just a hobby that you practice every now and then. Okay, today I'm in a good mood, I'm going to be good. Oh, today I had a good day, I'm going to be good. No, it becomes 100% embedded in who you are, and you practice it in every single small detail in your life. And you slowly go from here to up here, and you feel like you've upgraded your soul, basically. You've upgraded your personality. So I'm a strong believer in this. It completely changed you. I can never fool people when it comes to money. I cannot sleep if I owe someone money. I cannot, before doing anything or saying anything, I ask myself 3 questions. Is it good? Does it change anything? Is it right? Like, I ask myself, what I do and say, how is it affecting other people's lives? What is it doing? And if it's useless, I don't do it. I don't talk useless information. I don't do useless actions. I don't I will never participate in something that doesn't define my ethics and my soul and personality. And trust me, I was not like that 4 years ago. I became like that after being spiritually awakened. Back then, I was a normal person that would have thought the same thing my friend would have thought. Oh, God sent it my way, which makes sense, right? Then why did it come to me? It's because you are being tested. You're not being gifted right now.
I love that. For you, spiritual awakening can often come from hardships. I mean, I know my awakenings have definitely been from losing people I love, when I lost my sister and my dad and stuff and different things. And that's your greatest teachings, really, when you really end up connecting to something. It can come from great hardships. How was your journey with that? Was it out of love or out of pain?
Out of pain. The more pain I endured in my life, I went through so much in my life. From a relationship perspective, from a business perspective, I went through hell and back. But I love it. It shaped me and it mended me. And the more I was hurt, the more I realized that the world needs more love, more kindness. And the reason this is happening is because there's a lack of that. Because I'll lay it down for you in this way. If I went through a bad relationship, I'll give you an example for the sake of argument. So if I went through a bad relationship and let's say I was cheated on, if I came out of this relationship bitter, angry, if I came up more stubborn or saying, I will never trust anybody, I will never love anybody, I'm never going to give my all to someone after being backstabbed, I will never, 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 never. You have actually lost because that person took away the most valuable thing in you, which is you. They took away the most valuable traits you have and they made you another version of them. The reason you were hurt is because this person did not show love, was not kind, was aggressive, was selfish, and now you became someone like them. So guess what? Yeah, you've been heartbroken, but I mean, you'll get over it eventually. You'll move on, and it takes time. You heal. Might leave a scar, but it's okay. You live. It's not oxygen or water. But in the end, if they rob you from your own personality, that means they won. That person took everything away from you, and you've actually lost the battle. So every time I was hurt or let down or broken by a situation, a person, or let's say a business or a venture or anything, I always looked back and I said, you know what? I'm going to be more loving. I'm going to be more kind. I believe that maybe by having this positive attitude, I would impact people to change and be more positive. And if I end up being hurt again because of that, I'd rather be vulnerable than be a person who's aggressive and mean and all that. And I believe in vulnerability comes so much beauty. There's so much beauty in that. So yeah, I mean, it came from hardship, and I love everything. And if you could give me a magic stick right now that can take me back in time and make me undo things in my life, I would never change a bit of it, because one single change would not make me sitting right here in front of you talking to you. I would have taken a different path. And I'm thankful, I'm happy, and yeah, and the lesson was definitely positive. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to come out positive, but it's a mindset, I swear to God. It's how you train your brain to accept things and to look at things. And I always say, if you can't change a situation, change the way you look at it. That's it. And life becomes so simple, so easy.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sayings from Dr. Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's just
exactly
everything to go by. It really is. I mean, it's like we were saying, I believe that in terms of people can find it very hard to see past the pain of the situation and try to change into that mindset. And someone asked me the other day, they were like, well, do you not wish, obviously, like your sister and your dad were still here? And I was like, do I wish they were here? Every single day. But do I know that some of the good things I now am are because they are not here? Yes. So it's that tricky, it's part of the journey, and everyone has these extreme things thrown at them in life. But if you can find a way to make them work for you and to bring out the best in you in the end, then you win, don't you? And everything's for something.
No, I love you said that, because I believe that also part of being spiritually awakened is that you understand that whatever happens to you in life is not to hurt you. God doesn't hate anybody. Everything is done to mend you and bend you. And it's known And it's written that you can survive whatever comes your way and you're strong enough to endure it. So when you believe in this, you take nothing personal. Anything that happens personal. And you know that once the door shuts, there's a window. It might not open today, not tomorrow, but it will open soon. Everything makes sense eventually. After you go through hardship, you realize, oh my God, this happened. I lost my job because this other job came a month later. If I had my job, I would have been traveling and I wouldn't have seen that job come. So everything is a chain reaction. Everything happens for a reason. But to talk about death as well, when you're spiritually awake, you understand that death is not life interrupted, it's life complete. And the minute you understand that, you even love the journey of death because it's part of living. And that person has served their purpose, they've done what they have to do, and it's time for them to leave. And you know, and you wish and you hope they're in a better place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even the way I looked at death completely changed. And I come from, my religion is Islam. And I've always didn't understand why in the Quran it says that when someone dies, you can cry and like mourn and like pull your hair out, do whatever you want for 3 days only. After that, you have to stop. You're not allowed to do it. I never understood. But then I realized that, oh my God, it makes sense because the more we are like lingering or holding on to the thought of someone being here and hoping and wishing they're here, their energy gets stuck here. And you know what I mean? They're not at ease because you are like, it's law of attraction. Their energy is stuck here. You have to release the person. You have to let it go. And death is just a process. And in my religion, now I understand because cry for 3 days, do whatever you want. But after that, you need to understand that this is a process of life and that death is not life interrupted, it's life complete. And if that person was alive, it might not have been for their own good favor, or it was not meant for them to be. So they might endure hardship in life. They might destroy opportunities for others. They might destroy opportunities for themselves. But this was a complete journey from day one, written in the books. You know what I mean? So it made sense because I used to cry for like months and months and cry and hope. But then I asked myself, why does it say 3 days? I don't get it. I'm human. I'm a person with a soul, with a brain. I have emotions. And why am I supposed to only cry for 3 days? But then it makes sense. They're gone to a better place. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I love that. I love that phrase you just used. It's not life interrupted; it's life complete. It's such a nice way of putting it. Oh, Sarah, it's been so amazing talking to you. But to finish, I'd love to ask you just two things that I love asking people at the end. What is one book that's changed your life more than anything? And also, what is one intention you like to live by that keeps you motivated?
A book. So just like to lay it down low, it's very hard for me to read for a long time. So, and even like when you're dyslexic, your attention span, it's interrupted. But I'll tell you a book that really, really, really like opened my eyes to so many things. Oh my God, I can't even remember the name. This is what happens when you're dyslexic. You remember pictures of the books, images, and not names. But I think it was called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, something like that probably. It was a blue book, I think. Something like that. It basically teaches you how to be spiritually awakened and to understand that.
Was it The Power of Now? Eckhart Tolle.
I don't know.
He's wonderful. He wrote a book like that called The Power of Now about it was blue, which is what I just said when you said that.
Then I think it is that. It's a blue color. Yeah, it is that. So that book really opened up my eyes. But I've to be honest, I advise everyone to research, and I do a lot of research about these things. I read a lot of people's ideas about it, and that's how you grow. Your mind grows, you know. And thank God Google is there. It just has so much information there. But if we are talking about the same book, it's a blue colored book, and it talks about the power of your subconscious mind and how you can control situations and things in life and how your brain is a tool. Then that is the right book. But what was the second question you asked me?
What's one intention or mantra or statement that you like to live by that keeps you on track?
My favorite mantra is basically what you're looking for is looking for you.
I
So
love that.
if you put your mind and you set it, you'll get it. And just like magnets, if you are set in the right direction towards what you want and you're not distracted by negativity or distracted by emotions that are unnecessary, you redirect yourself towards that thing and you'll attract it. So it's just physics, you know. If people don't want to believe in it from a spiritual perspective, it's physics. But also, my one thing in life, when people ask me, Sarah, what do you want from life? I never want to be forgotten. And that's why whenever I do anything, whether it's small or big, and I accept to do something, I do it 100% from my heart and soul. And that's how people never forget you. When you dedicate your heart and soul 100% towards doing things, people will never forget you. I just don't want to be forgotten. And that's what I thrive and I live for. And that's why my self-branding is done in a certain way that if you ask people about me, they always have something good to say. And even if I do something bad and you tell them, they will not believe you because the branding has been done in such a good way and practiced in a good way. Yeah, so yeah, it's just that, you know, it's nothing else. And when I'm gone, I just want to be remembered. That's it, for the good things I've done.
Yeah, I love that. Leaving the world a better place. Well, you certainly seem to do that and are all sort of heart and soul. So thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast today. It's been so wonderful having you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. And you're such an amazing soul, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.